Welcome, friends of the Greasy Shop Rag. Today we're going to take a look at a Husqvarna 122C string trimmer. A customer complaint is that it won't start and it leaks gas. So whenever you get a newer piece of equipment in like this and the complaint is that it leaks gas, be very suspicious. And in fact, it doesn't have to be a new piece of equipment. You can see I'm looking it over a bit, trying to figure out where the gas leak might be coming from. But a lot of times when they say it's leaking gas, it's coming out the exhaust because they have it flooded. So this won't even pop, fart, nothing. And we're going to look in the cylinder and it's wet in there. So it's flooding. Let's see if we have spark. Because if it doesn't have spark, the cylinder's just going to get wet. Okay. We got spark. Condition of the cylinder looks good. We dried out the cylinder and we're going to put the plug back in. And maybe our fuel's bad. Now I've seen it where a unit won't run at all on certain canned fuel. I don't know what happens to that stuff, if there's bad batches of it. I haven't seen it with the Husqvarna branded fuel, but I believe the complaint is True Fuel is the one that customers usually are telling me that they're running and it's not working for them. And in those cases, they'll just dump their fuel out, hit the primer bulb a few times, get the fresh fuel in there, and the thing runs. So let's see if that's the case here. Nothing doing. Checking for spark again. Yeah, our handy dandy spark tester tells us that we have spark. So what do you think it is? We have spark. We have good fuel in the tank. We're getting fuel in the cylinder, but it won't run. I'm going to dry it out one more time. Crank in a fresh spark plug. The reason I'm going through all these steps is because if the problem is what I think it is, it's a lot of work to get to it. So we want to make sure that we've eliminated like I was saying, we want to make sure that we've eliminated all other possibilities. Now, I guess it's certainly possible that if the metering diaphragm was stiff and just holding the needle open in the carburetor, that so much fuel would be coming in there that it would flood like this and never pop. I don't know. Usually you get at least one pop out of it. But we're going to open up the carb. See what we got going on in there. Loosen the cap before you take the line off. I got squirted anyway. What the heck? Sometimes you do everything right and you still lose. Alright, let's pop this metering diaphragm out of here. It looks really good. It looks new like the machine does. metering lever looks good. We don't think that's the problem. Now, if the spark arrestor screen was blocked up, you could end up with a situation like that. But that screen is just wet with fuel. Also, most likely, the fuel leak they were talking about was just raw fuel moving right through the engine and coming out the muffler. So we're going to have to go a little bit deeper on this one and see what we got going on under the hood. I think there's 7 screws holding this end cover on, maybe 8. And there is a series of fine thread and coarse thread. Usually the fine thread ones are the 3 around the starter assembly. So we got the starter out of the way. I want to pop the muffler off of here. Just take a look inside the cylinder and make sure everything looks normal. I mean, I didn't take a compression reading, but it pulled like there was decent compression. So we don't expect to see any scoring. But we're this far into it, we're going to take a look anyway, right? Yeah, everything looks fine, except that it's wet. So the next place we're going to look is the other side of the engine. And on that side we have the ignition coil, which is making spark, and the flywheel. So there's 3 screws that hold this cover on. I think these are all fine thread on this side. And once we get those 3 out of there, we'll be able to separate the engine from that clutch housing. There's still going to be those 2 kill wires and the throttle cable, and you can disconnect those or you can just kind of work around them. I don't remember which way I went on this one. Man, it's nice and clean in here, ain't it? So you can see I disconnected the kill wires, but I left the throttle cable attached. So we want to see if the flywheel key is sheared or not. A sheared flywheel key would explain all of our problems. We're getting spark, it's just not timed. And that would explain it not popping or anything like that, and not wanting to start. Removing the flywheel on this is pretty simple. There's a flange nut. Whenever there's a flange nut, you can put a socket on it and just bang the socket directly to break the flywheel loose from the crankshaft. And you can see just one tap did it. So this unit uses a built-in key that's cast right into the flywheel itself. So when it shears, you have to replace the entire flywheel. I didn't have an entire flywheel on hand, so this is going to sit while I wait for one. That's all I got for you on the Husqvarna 122C string trimmer that wouldn't start. Thanks for watching. Later.